Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Oddity, the latest Irish horror film by writer-director Damian McCarthy, who some of you may remember is the writer-director of Caveat.
Yeah.
And this is his latest film. It is about a clairvoyant named Darcy, who is trying to uncover who killed her twin sister Danny and why. That's kind of scratching the surface of what this movie is about, but that's what it is at its core.
Yeah, one of the things that's very interesting about this movie is it absolutely exists in the same universe as the movie Caveat.
Yes, 100%. It even includes a cameo of the bunny from Caveat.
Yeah, because on top of being a clairvoyant, she is also a collector of cursed objects. And one of the cursed objects is that bunny rabbit.
Yep. Which is why this movie is called Oddity, because she is a collector of oddities.
Oddities, yeah.
And the oddities themselves become plot points over the course of this movie. So basically what happens is one night when her twin sister Danny is renovating the old home that her husband and her bought to live together because she is low-key a paranormal enthusiast.
Yeah.
And living in an old ancient house like this is giving her the opportunity to hunt for ghosts.
Yeah.
And she's renovating the home one night while also setting up cameras to look for ghosts when one of her husband's mental patients, because her husband is a psychologist, one of her husband's mental patients escapes from the institute, shows up at their doorstep one day, and apparently kills her, but did he? That's the question.
Yeah, because we don't actually watch it happen. We just know that this event of this guy coming up to the door, there's someone in the house with you.
Yep.
But the guy's clearly nutso.
Yeah. So did he actually see somebody? Did he not? Did somebody else kill Danny, or was it the crazy guy? We don't know. However, when Darcy gets a hold of the glass eye that was once owned by the crazy guy after he dies in a very violent way inside
Super
the
violent,
asylum.
yeah.
We don't see it. We just see the aftermath of it. His head's like completely smashed in.
Yeah.
She receives the eye after that because she requested it from her brother-in-law, and she uses her clairvoyant powers to trace the history of the object and learns that something is not right with the narrative that he killed her sister.
Yeah.
The thing is, she knows way more than the audience does for most of this movie.
Yeah.
Because she shows up at her brother-in-law's house after this, is apparently trying to seek out the truth for what happened, but over the course of the movie, we find out her motives might actually be...
Might be more sinister than you realize.
And we'll talk about it in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do want to bring up before we get to the spoilers, the creepy-ass mannequin she brings with her.
Like Caveat, there's a creepy-ass doll in this movie.
But this one's a man-sized doll.
Yeah, it is a mannequin carved out of oak that looks like a man screaming. Like,
yeah, it's creepy as shit every time it's on screen.
Yeah.
There are moments in this movie where you're wondering if that fucking doll is don't blinking you. Is a weeping angeling you throughout the movie.
Once it appears, it's in almost every scene, and you're constantly like, when's that thing gonna move?
You'll have moments when you're watching it where you're trying to figure out, okay, is it in a slightly different position because it moved in between the shots? Or is that just a continuity error?
Or did she move it? Because there's no conclusion that you can come to that isn't bad. Because if she's moving it, that means she's trying to do something.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. If it's moving it by itself, it's like, well, that's it. Ghosts are real. You're fucked.
We've seen her use her clairvoyant powers, so the potential of it moving on its own is very real.
It's very real. It's super real. But the thing that they do is everything exists in plausible deniability.
Yeah.
The person who is seeing the ghosts is not necessarily the psychic sister. And when they see it, there's a bit of plausible deniability because they're in a creepy place where a murder happened, so they're already primed to see something weird. And so you're like, did they actually see a ghost? Does she actually have psychic powers? Because the only way we know whether or not she has psychic powers until a particular point is through her.
Yes.
So she could just be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially since we've already established some characters that are.
That are crazy, yeah. We know insane people see insane stuff that isn't necessarily there, so is this also one of those?
Also, shout out to the glass-eyed crazy guy from the beginning of the movie that kicks off this plot. He's in this movie very briefly before his head smashed in, but he fucking steals the show every time he's on screen.
Oh yeah, no, he steals the scene, which was no mean feat because the only character he interacts with is the other actress, also amazing.
Yes. So it's just two actors fucking elevating each other.
Oh, so good. It was so good. I loved how he came across as both completely terrified and completely unintentionally threatening.
Yep.
Whoa. All right, one thing I gotta say about this movie is that it has 2 jump scares.
Yep.
And it got me both times.
Me too.
Yeah, 2 for 2. In a paranormal activity movie, there's usually one big jump scare that gets me.
Yeah.
But it's shotgunning jump scares the entire time.
Yeah, 100%.
This one, it's 2 jump scares in the movie alone.
Yeah.
Hit the bullseye both times.
Absolutely. It is very methodical with its filmmaking.
Yeah.
And very deliberate when it did those jump scares.
Yeah.
And each one was highly effective.
It's masterful.
And it's partially because this entire movie does a really great job of just building this atmosphere of dread the entire time.
Yeah, those jump scares are like psycho masterful.
This was something that was really true about Caveat too. Just this dreadful atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's suffocating the entire movie.
Yeah. And one of the things that's great about this movie is when you put this movie in context of Caveat, you know how like Caveat kind of has that, is there something supernatural going on? This movie pretty much tells you, yes.
Well, the moment you see her use her clairvoyance to like trace the history of the object, you're like, okay, magic is real in this world.
Yeah, it's absolutely real.
Which makes this a really good little ghost story, honestly.
Whoa.
And a ghost story in the traditional sense, because we have the more modern ghost story, which is like poltergeist, right?
Right.
People move into a house, there's spooky things there, and they have to escape the house.
It's built on an Indian burial ground.
Like malevolent ghosts or demons or whatever are trying to kill them inside the house. This isn't like that. This is more like a traditional ghost story where the ghost is the thing that was wronged.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out how it was wronged and who wronged it. And until you do that, you can't like fix the problem.
Right. The supernatural is not necessarily your enemy.
And also, the most dangerous thing are the humans that turned people into ghosts.
Yes. Yeah.
The murderers, you know?
Yeah. This turns a lot of things in the genre on its head while also sticking to it.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
It's a great example of using all the tropes in a truly unique way.
Yeah.
Kudos to actress Carolyn Bracken, who plays the twin sisters. Her performance alone as the clairvoyant sister is already phenomenal.
Yeah.
But you add on top of that her completely different performance of Danny at the beginning of the movie.
Dude, it's so good that you find yourself questioning whether or not they're identical twins because they're so different, but it's the same actress.
They were so different that I had to look up if it was the same actress.
Yeah, me too. I was like, wait, no, they got 2 different actors. They're not like identical twins, right? Oh, they are.
They're not caricatures.
No.
You know, sometimes when someone has like a dual performance, one performance is a little bit more amped up and kind of cartoony to like contrast the more
these are
natural performance.
2 separate complete characters.
100%. 100%. You know, this isn't Jekyll and Hyde, you know?
No.
These are 2 characters that you could tell she sat down and wrote down the histories of both of them and their relationship to each other and played both perfectly.
Yeah, it was amazing. Now, they do give the psychic sister, like, white hair.
Yes, which gives her a visual distinction.
Yeah, it gives her a visual distinction, but I wonder whether that was even necessary.
It worked at least to let you know when they would cut back and forth between flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
It at least helped to make you go, oh, okay, we're in the present right now with the one sister.
Yeah.
And so it was helpful in that regard.
Yeah. It was helpful, but I don't know if it was strictly necessary due to the actress.
I know, she's so good. She's so good. So if you're looking for a truly unique, truly creepy, and legitimately scary ghost story to check out this spooky season, I highly recommend Oddity, which is a Shudder movie. It was briefly in theaters, but I don't think it is anymore, so you're probably going to have to wait for it to hit Shudder at the end of this month. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, let us move on to the spoilers so we can find out who actually killed Danny. It was the husband.
Yeah, it was the husband.
So, long story short, the husband hatched this scheme where he got his orderly, who's actually a patient himself that he's let work for him, plan this elaborate murder in which they're gonna let out one of their patients and pin it all on the patient, but really it was his orderly who kills her. And there's this moment where he's talking about like, well, why didn't you just fucking divorce her? Oh, she would never been able to live without me. And it's just like, oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, and even the sister is like, she would have gotten over your fucking loser ass, fucko.
Now, let me just say, it's pretty easy to figure out it's the husband, but what makes it super satisfying is the husband slowly reveals himself to be such a piece of shit. You just want to see him get his comeuppance.
Yeah. Oh, man. My favorite is the arc the sister is, the psychic sister is going through.
Yep.
This is the main story arc because you're like, why is she doing it this way? Doesn't she already know? And the answer is only kind of.
Here's the thing. She kind of plays it like she doesn't know the whole story at the beginning.
Yeah, she plays it like she doesn't know, but she knows one very important thing, which is the guy at the door didn't do it.
Yeah. What she wanted to do was confirm exactly how it played out, and she couldn't confirm everything, but she knew someone at that hospital was involved with it because when she touched the eye, she could see all the way back to when the crazy guy was listening to them talking about planning to kill his wife through the ventilation.
Yeah, through the ventilation, and the reason he ran right over to the house was specifically to warn her, but he's so nuts, he comes off so sketchy.
And it turns out this is actually part of their plan too.
Yeah.
So him running over there in the first place was the exact wrong thing for him to do.
The psychic sister initially believed the official story. And so she's the one who had the crazy guy at the door killed.
Yes, that's why his head was smashed. And his head was smashed by that fucking mannequin.
Yeah, but she still needed to confirm it, so she has the eye brought to her and she touches it. She's like, I just killed an innocent man. Oh, fuck.
Yep. This is the man who was trying to save her.
Yeah, she's trying to also complete a death wish.
Yep.
While she's doing all of this.
Now, it looks like at a certain point, like the dude's gonna get away with it because there's this amazing scene. It's my favorite scene in the entire movie where he sets this elaborate death trap for her because early on in the movie, one of the first things we see is Danny fixing up this trap door. And there's a point in which the husband comes up with this plan. I'm gonna set this phone right here and I'm gonna go call the cops and you can tell them that you think I did this and all that stuff. But it's a scheme to get her to walk into the fucking trap door.
Yeah.
And the way they revealed that is great.
Yeah, because she's actually blind.
Yep. So she falls through that floor, is going to be finished off by the orderly guy that he uses to carry out his dirty work. But then the orderly guy is fucking murdered by that goddamn mannequin. Turns out the mannequin reaches a point where it's no longer weeping angeling us. It just straight up starts walking around and chasing him.
Yeah.
And it's still fucking creepy. It's very obvious she knew that he was pretty much guilty from the get-go because of how this movie ends.
Oh, yeah.
Because, okay, so the orderly isn't fully killed by the mannequin before she dies on the floor, so the mannequin stops working.
Yeah.
And the orderly ends up in the hospital, and the husband pulls some strings to make sure it's taken to his hospital, even though it's a mental hospital, because he's technically a mental patient. And he has a cannibal let in to eat the guy alive so that he won't tell anybody about their scheme. But then he goes home, and he receives in the mail this Chekhov's gun. Earlier in the movie, when he is walking through her shop to bring her the eyeglass from the psycho guy that died, she is telling him about this bell, which is one of those bellhop bells from like hotels. It belongs to a guy who died, and that every time you ring it, you will see the bellhop. He will be a ghostly bellhop, and that everybody who's rung it has not lived after a couple days having rung it.
Yeah. The implication being that the ghost of the bellhop kills you.
Yes. At the very end of the movie, he receives a package, and inside the package is that bell. And there's this great moment where the man of science, the guy who's denied all the supernatural elements of this story up until this point, is staring at the bell, too scared to press it. And then eventually he builds up the nerve to press it, and in the background you can see the bellhop.
Yeah.
And then credits.
It's been this elaborate scheme that the psychic sister hatched
Yup.
to kill everyone who was guilty, including herself.
Yup. This is a legitimately great gothic ghost story.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it was done by the people who did Caveat, which is another great keep them guessing until the very end kind of movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My only criticism is that it's a little easy to figure out that the husband's behind it, but like other than that,
other than that, it's great. It wasn't the big oh shit moment. It was the like, you are waiting for confirmation though.
Yeah.
You know, you do wait for confirmation until the end because you're like, oh, I'm pretty sure mofo did this shit. But everything you get as a result of needing this confirmation, of wanting this confirmation, is where the movie really exists.
Absolutely. And with that said, my fellow gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Oh, well, you can find me here haunting YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. See what I did there? Where I usually have a guest, and I would like you to come and join us in the chat. We talk about all kinds of groovy things like horror movies, horror memorabilia, sometimes art. I'm also on Twitch on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where I generally will play video games, and I want you to come and talk to me while I do so, because that's why I do it. What about you?
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. If you made it this far into the video, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag #RingMyBell. Use the hashtag #RingMyBell, that way I know. That way Jack knows. That way the whole world knows that you are probably going to be dead in 7 or so days.
7 days.
I apologize, but
yeah, you're gonna be killed by like that fucking bellhop from Tower of Terror.
Yeah, he's gonna hop on your head like fucking Mario.
Bing! Do 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 do. That's you.